Hello, welcome to the Beyond the Questions podcast, because every great conversation starts with a question. We're having real conversations about life with life coaches, and we are anticipating another great episode. So get ready and let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Questions. My name is TQ, and I'm here today with several other coaches. We are going to be diving into a topic called self-doubt. Everybody deals with this. I don't care whether you are just kind of going about doing whatever, or you feel like you're the CEO at some major corporation or whatnot. We all deal with this thing in ourselves where we go, I don't know, am I going to be able to do that? And so today we're going to talk about that. And as we do that, I want to give my co-hosts, my co-coaches, these awesome people that you see on the screen, I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. And we're going to start with Ericka.
Hey everybody, yes, I'm Ericka. I'm one of the coaches here, and I mostly help people who have been through some kind of trauma to kind of help them get through those types of things in their life. Maybe they're transitioning or want to transition or aren't quite sure how to kind of get out of that pain mode. And this topic today definitely comes in with the clients that I help. So I'm excited to kind of share all of our insights.
How about you, Kellie?
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Kellie. I am the founder of a company called Purposeful Pivot. And my purpose is really to empower accomplished women experiencing corporate burnout to make a mindful transition to their what's next. So hopefully, after leaving a professional job and trying to figure out what you want to do at this stage of life, that I can help women get through that transition faster, because I lived it myself and it was a hard process. And so my mission is to help women get there a lot quicker than I did. So self-doubt really creeps in. And so I'm happy to talk about it today. So
Awesome.
that's me.
Jason?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Jason. I am the owner and founder of Roton Coaching. And so I love to just spend time talking to people, hearing their stories, and helping you achieve your goals and find purpose in your life. So I do that both in a life coaching situation and also in an executive or business coaching format. And this month I was certified in emotional intelligence coaching as well. So super excited about that. Thank you. I feel like I don't really want to talk about this topic today because it's maybe a little too close to home, but looking forward to the conversation regardless.
Awesome. Appreciate the honesty there, Jason. I'm TQ. My mama calls me Twan. I am in charge of or lead a organization called TQ Coaching Solutions. I'm a coach and I really love helping people get unstuck, especially those of you who may be creatives, entrepreneurs, just kind of starting something and you're going, I'm just stuck. I love walking people through that. And so that's why I'm here today. And I think we are ready to dive in. So self-doubt is sneaky. Like it's not something that you kind of just see coming on. Oftentimes it comes in a lot of different ways. It's kind of whispering at us and it just kind of shows up most of the time when we don't want it. And so one of my questions to us here to get going, well, before I ask the question, I want to read a definition of self-doubt that I got from psychology today. Okay. And the definition says, self-doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of confidence in one's own self or one's abilities. And then it says it can lead to lots of things like anxiety, procrastination, self-esteem. So that's what I'm saying. It shows up in a lot of weird different ways. So what I would love to do is ask our team this. When we talk about self-doubt, what does it actually look like in every day? You know, I talked about it being sneaky. How does it like show up? How have you seen it show up? Maybe in your life or in others you've been coaching?
I'll jump in. I think it shows up just very quietly. Like, it doesn't show up loudly. It takes time. And I think, in a world where we all have so many differences, I think this is one thing that many, many of us have in common. And I think it shows up daily where it's, maybe you second guess yourself, or you said something in a meeting and you're like, oh, was that stupid? Should I have said that? Or it shows up, you're afraid to make a decision, or maybe you talk yourself out of doing something because you start to doubt yourself. So I feel like it's a lot of this just second guessing of ourselves. And when we know we're capable of things, but sometimes you just have that that nudge in your mind where you start to second guess yourself, but it's a quiet nudge. So that's why I think it's hard to deal with sometimes.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I also think it sneaks in the negative self-talk that we are communicating with ourselves when we're like, oh, either I can't do this or I don't want to do this. Those types of kind of patterns and self-talk that keep going, then that bigger self-doubt comes in with the anxiety. And then it's almost like that unknown of how to do it and how to move forward because it creates that cycle.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I think about this, it's that like, I mean, it is a self-talk that says, I can't do that. So you bury yourself in what you can do. So I can control this little piece of my business or my world or whatever I'm going through. So I'll just spend all my time there. It might not make me any money or move the ball down the road, but I feel safe here. And over here feels really risky. And so I'm not willing to step in and take the risk or to put myself out there. So I'll stay right here in my safe little cocoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because when you do that, you just feel like you're doing something,
Right.
right? So you kind of feel like, okay, this is great, and it's really not moving the mark. Man, that's good. And I think sometimes we don't even know like the negative self-talk, Erica, that you said. It comes like such a part of my everyday language or everyday thinking that I don't see that as something that's negative. It's just what it is. It's just what I do. So those are good. I say in my life, it looks like waiting. I'm waiting for, I don't know, some of the things to line up or to get this next piece of information or, well, when they call me back, then I will, right? And so what happens is I end up waiting my time away because I don't feel that confidence to go ahead and go, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and step in. I may not have that together or this together, or I may not be exactly sure. Maybe I'll try this because I hate to mess it up. I don't like that whole go in and, man, just stink up the place with what I've done. And I don't like that. And so I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. And so if I wait, then I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? And so the self-doubt deal, it's just kind of crazy how subtly it comes in and just, at least in my world, and just kind of hangs around, like I don't want to see it. So it's hanging around. But my question here is this: where do you think it comes from? I just imagine myself, little baby Twan. I don't remember that, but I'm going around and I'm learning stuff. I'm picking up blocks. I'm, checking out the room, eh, learning to walk. Life's grand. And then one day I go from this little infant, toddler person with lots of possibility to, my goodness, I don't know how anything is going to work. Right. And so I'm going between there and that angst of impossibility. What happens? Like, how do we find ourselves in that spot?
So TQ, first of all, I think all of our viewers want to see baby TQ. So I feel like maybe post edit
Absolutely.
somehow we need to like post in that picture.
Put a little
so
picture there.
We
I'll
get
see if I
the
can do that.
full impact of that story. But on a serious note, I think life teaches it to us. I think as toddler Jason toddling around, and I thought we get told we can be whatever we want, right? You can do anything you want. No, I can't. I'm a short, slightly overweight, bald white guy. I cannot go play in the NBA. It's not going to happen. But I think we get told along the way, you can't. That's not a possibility for you. And then in that, we begin to write stories and narratives into our own life that build limits for us and that stop us from achieving more than we probably are capable of because we start to believe our own story.
Yeah, that's that internal story, right? How we perceive ourselves to be, while also, I think another thing that happens is our environment and it's the external things that happen to us. And if we can't kind of quite figure out how to get through those rough areas and times of life, then it's kind of like all of this impact, right? When we've been told, "Oh, well, I can't actually go and be this NBA player. I've wanted to play basketball my whole life," or, something like that. And then we have an injury on top of it. And then it compounds, and we have to learn how to change our mindset to go through those challenges and what we've learned through life experiences.
And not to go into therapy because we're all coaches, right? And coaches try to help people move forward, and therapy is more looking back. But I do think a lot of it comes from childhood and your environment and what you've heard. And then you start to play these scripts in your mind of things that you've heard and then over again. And then, I think kind of Jason, to what you were saying before and being comfortable, your brain is wired to do what's comfortable and go what's easy. So if it's easier to listen to what you've heard throughout your life, things that you can't do, that's where your brain tends to go. So you definitely have to purposely kind of change those thoughts to get out of that self-doubt. But yeah, I think that a lot of that's what holds us back to that kind of self-doubt space and that comfortable space.
When we talk about our environment, I think I want to add sometimes, well, like Jason, you said, we hear we can do anything, right? And I think that's the story for many of us. You can do anything. Mom's like, yay, that's my baby in the, in the stands. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes some people don't have that. Those people that are close to them, first people they open their eyes to and see have been the ones with the heavy negative messages of you can't, you're never going to be, etc. That's a large hurdle to overcome because, man, I mean, we don't even know what to call ourselves till somebody calls us something, right? Tells us our name. And so we start to carry what those who we entrusted to say. And sometimes it's just not true, right? Getting ourselves to go, I can trust them in these things, but in that thing, I think they're off. That's a tough thing to get to. And so,
TQ, if I can.
yeah, go ahead.
So I don't want to go too deep down that. I appreciated Kelly's call out about therapy, but I've been to some counselors and talked with one. And in one session, I realized when it comes to self-doubt, I had envisioned in my life a bleacher section of people who are waiting to watch me fail, who are gonna cheer for that. Now, I don't think anybody's actually in that. And that's what the counselor said. He's like, who's in that cheering section? Tell me who's there.
Right.
And I'm like, nobody with an actual face is there, but they're there. And so I think part of it is this, like, we create this in our mind that there are people out there, people just waiting for us to fail so they can celebrate. At least that was part of my own self-doubt.
Yeah.
And naming that and realizing that was a huge help for me to realize that there's probably nobody out there actually waiting for me to fail. Like, most decent human beings want other people to succeed in what they're doing, right? Like, but at least in my story, I had created this narrative of that's what was happening.
Yeah, man, thank you for sharing that and letting us into that vulnerable space. I appreciate that, bro. He's already kind of opened it up a bit. I'm just kind of wondering in our own personal life, what have been the experiences that have really had an effect on either your self-doubt, or we can flip it, or confidence too, And I'll start, okay? We started talking about basketball. I'm a basketball fan. I love it. But I remember playing basketball in high school. Actually, I didn't play. I suited up. I went to practice, but I sat on the bench a lot. And I remember my coach saying, give me a reason to play you. In my mind, translated to, you don't have a reason? Why'd you pick me on the team? Right? And so I'm like, oh, you don't believe that I can? So maybe I can't, right? Because that was my coach. I think he was trying to motivate, etc. Tell us, the positive end of that is like, show me what you can do, but that's not how I heard it. Then conversely, I had a 6th grade teacher named Miss Tipton. I love her. I don't know whatever happened to Miss Tipton. Many of you know I'm a singer. I don't know that maybe I would have been without Miss Tipton, but I remember there's some sort of play or something, and she was looking for somebody to sing, and we would do, um, I don't know, I think it was the national anthem or whatever in school. I don't know if they do that these days or not, you know. But I remember her believing in me to sing at our big grand assembly. And that was one of the first times that I felt like, especially somebody not my family, looked at me and went, I think you can do this. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can, you know? And those voices, they meant a lot. So anyway, but who else? What kind of stories do you have? What kind of experiences do you have that kind of bring out that self-doubt or confidence? Either one or both.
Well, I mean, I can go recently. We've talked about, all of you know my story of just how I left a very, high level executive role in corporate America without a plan because I was just burnt out and decided to start, a coaching business and retreat business, and the self-doubt was like off the charts because I'm like, who am I to think I'm going to completely change my whole entire life? Essentially, it's like I go to my husband, I went to my husband, I'm like, I think I'm going to be a coach tomorrow. And so, I mean, you can do it, but it's just the self-doubt because I was in marketing. I did marketing for 30 some years. It's like, oh my gosh, who am I to think I can do something completely out of my comfort zone? And then I started going down the rabbit hole of, oh, what are people going to think of me? I've changed my whole entire, career trajectory. And then the self-doubt was just like ridiculous. And it wasn't till, one day I was ready to launch TQ. I think you and I were talking. We were talking and I'm like, well, I'm going to start my business in April. And like April came and went, right? And it kept going because I was doubting myself that I could actually do it. So I didn't get out there for a couple more months, all because of myself, not because I couldn't do it, but because of my mind telling me I couldn't do it until one day I'm just like, the heck with it. I'm going. So yeah, so it can definitely, hold you back if you let it, take over for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, and I think the listeners know part of my story and part of all of our stories, which is good to kind of, have that connection. And that like a huge self-doubt for me kind of that was shaping me, and it's hard to push through. And Jason, you said earlier kind of like, oh, this is a little close to home. It's like this is a little close to home too, because I imagined, I would be a married mom with kids and living life that way. And so now trying to be a single mom with my kids, it's just like it is constant battling of, well, this is what my life is now. This is reality. And this is what I'm facing while like going through so many changes, so many transition. And it's relearning almost every day how to ground and balance myself. And it's not easy work. Not at all.
Right.
The self-doubt and anxiety can come in pretty quickly if I'm not like paying attention to it. So I will say it takes a lot of work, and sometimes I'm better than others. And sometimes, I can help myself push forward. I like what you said earlier. I think it was you, TQ, about how in that waiting period, oh, I should just wait till everything's perfect. It's like, no, like
Right.
can't do that. It's not going to be perfect. What is that anyways? That's like that ideal I'm creating. And it's not even like a reachable thing, right? It's
Yeah.
just like, okay, this is where I'm at now. And how am I going to get through this today sometimes, or even for some people, this moment?
Yeah.
I so love the different perspectives that we bring to this call because TK is like, I'm going to wait. And I'm like, I'm going to jump in to the 20-foot deep end and I'm going to hope that I can keep this looking professional while inside I'm just drowning to try to figure out that you don't know that I don't know what I'm doing. Right. So it's all that stuff. Like I love that. But so I kind of talked about the negative. TQ, I appreciated your positive example of your 6th grade teacher. I think about my academic advisor in undergrad. So I went into college undeclared. I was fairly sure I got accepted to this small Christian school so I could leave it in a year. And I was going to go be a physical therapist, have my own practice. I had dreams for 5 and 10 years. out of school for what that was going to look like. First semester, I ended up declaring a major, which was not physical therapy, was pastoral ministry. And I still to this day, I'm kind of like, who thought this was a good idea? And I remember like realizing I'm not the best person in the class. I'm not the smartest. And he looked at me one day and he said, I want you to know A+ students make the worst pastors. And I was like, and I think what he was saying is there's enough gray that you've got to learn to live in the gray as you lead these work inside these organizations and navigate people. And it's just not black and white, like take the test. But his belief in me inspired decades of ministry. And his
Yeah.
name was Dr. Bieberstein, or Biebs, as we all lovingly called him.
Nice.
He's gone home, but yeah, spoke
Yeah.
a lot of truth into my life.
I
Oh,
love the
man.
theme. I love the themes that there's other people that have to kind of help you along. Like sometimes you need people to lean on in a community of people. So whether it's a teachers or advisors, or I've had friends that pushed me along, and Eric, I'm sure you rely on people to help you get through tough times. It's like we can't do it alone. And if you've got the right people by your side, then they can help you tamp down that self-doubt a little bit. So I'm grateful that, we have people to help and push us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, Kelly, because the next piece here that I really want us to kind of dig our teeth into is how do you know which voices are true and what's not? Like, how do you, with your inner voice, you've got negative voices at you, you got positive voices coming at you, and you're trying to go, okay, so what's the real deal here? Can I or can't I? Should I have confidence or should I not? How do we do that? How do you cipher through all of that?
A good question. I think if it's, you ask yourself maybe if it expands me or shrinks me. If it's something that I can grow from and expand and it's aligned to my values, then I'm going to think it's true, right? If it's something that is just kind of shrinking me and making me feel like maybe it's something I can't do, then I don't know if I trust it. So maybe that's the test, just kind of asking you, does it help you grow or does it help you shrink?
Yeah. And I think it's going back to listening in to what are our own values and beliefs. And sometimes we get in situations where we don't even realize where we're gaslighting ourselves because we're making decisions not based off of our own values, our beliefs. And like you said a moment ago, Kelly, like it takes a very like trusted group of people that we can go to with those questions like, hey, either I'm thinking about doing this, and it could just be even a little small thing, and just being able to talk it out with somebody you trust to know, okay, is this really something that's coming from me, or do I need to which I want to be careful with my words here, because not second guessing doesn't necessarily mean self-doubt, but is it going against like who I am as a person? Does that make sense?
Think so. Can you put a little meat on that, the difference that you were saying there?
Well, okay. So even in like, I feel like in me like stepping out into becoming a coach, and I feel I'm a little in between the no plan and then the just jumping and doing it, right? And whereas if I go back and I look at who I am as a person, I really enjoy helping people. And so what is coaching kind of on a very broad spectrum is helping people. Am I a little nervous about it? Am I a little scared? Yeah, I am. It's new, it's different. I haven't been doing this for a long time. Yet I actually just had this conversation with my friend the other day about how when we were in nursing school, you start out with one patient and you can only take care of one patient. And then as you continue to practice and keep going, all of a sudden you are realizing, then you have 2 patients and 3 patients and 4 patients, and you're doing it efficiently. And this kind of goes back to that, I was thinking about this when you were talking about that, like baby toddler, they continue to get up and walk. They fall down, but they continue to get up and walk, like over and over and over again. So even though I'm a little bit scared going forward in this, I'm going to continue to get up and walk and go over and over and over again until I get to that more fluid place.
I don't have a whole lot to add to what Kelly and Ericka said. I think that values piece, I mean, that's the meat on the bones for me is, am I true to myself? Am I true to the values? The things I say that I want to be about, am I doing that? And Kelly, I loved the team analogy. So I've got a group of people who I talk to, and they know all the parts of Jason I don't want anybody to see. That team approach often helps me decipher what's true, because there's normally something that all of them or the majority of them are seeing that is resonating with me, that is where I think I should go or what I think I should do. Now, if there's one that's like an outlier, I think you still have to pause and consider that. But that the myriad of voices that in different ways seem to say the same things gives me a sense of peace about who I am or where I'm going. And I come back from all of those to my wife and I'm like, hey, so this person said this today. And she's like, I've been saying that for 3 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I know you have. It just sounded different when Dave said it. And so there's a lot of validation, I think, in that team.
Yeah, I hear that. That's good. Having that team, yeah, and those values. I think I look back at my experiences. There's some things I do well in, and some things I don't. And that's just kind of my history. Okay, that's just what has happened. I can look at them and go, "Why didn't this happen?" or "Why did this happen?" Right? And what has been my history does not necessarily mean this is what's going to be my future. And so in the negative ones where I'm like, ooh, I did not do that well, right? And sometimes I'll self-doubt wants me to carry that into what's happening over here, right? What's happening in my future. Man, I heard another coach, the Simon Alexander Ong, I think is his name. He talked about how we can't look into our future with old data, right? Because we are people who grow. You know, I went back to the toddler me. I am definitely not the toddler that I was. Praise the Lord. Thank God. Right? I have grown. And so that doesn't just all of a sudden stop once you pass teenage years or graduate or whatever you think that cutoff is. And so if I can understand what went wrong or not right over here and go, who do I need to be over here to cancel that out? Then I can kind of go, okay, I don't have to stay stuck in this area. I could potentially grow by learning this or creating a new habit or something like that. That way I can look positively towards the future. And even if I don't get it right the next time, that still doesn't mean that's the end, right? I can still learn from that and grow. I'm not this static person of once I did this, it's going to stay that way the whole time. And so what he said there, I mean, I thought, man, that is really good to not use that old data. Okay. So we're sitting here in our homes or wherever we are, and we're postulating and philosophizing about self-doubt, right?
I don't think I've ever done those two things before. That was
well,
Those are some big words.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Well, how do we deal with it in real time? You're in the midst of something and wham, self-doubt comes, right? And you're like, how do I, in the moment when it's on me and I'm feeling the fear or the, oh no, or this is just like so-and-so said it would be, right? How do we deal with that in the moment? Like, are there some things that we can do that help us prepare now for that time?
I do a couple of things. I name it out loud. So if it hits in the morning, I'm having coffee or lunch with somebody, I'm going to talk about it at coffee and lunch. If it's somebody who's in that circle of people, right? Like, or I send my wife a text. So this hit me yesterday. I had an event happen yesterday, made me start to question everything. And I just sent my wife a text. Hey, I'm struggling today. And she's like, what's going on? And just the text gets it out of your head and helps you begin to move forward. I'm going to be a little contrary to what you just said, TQ, but I think we're saying the same things. I like to look at the past successes, not to take that past data from the negative and bring it forward, but to be like, remember when you didn't think you could do that thing?
Mm-hmm.
And look how that thing turned out. And there's a sense in which I can then build confidence to do the big scary thing that's right in front of me right now, because I can see where I had inside myself or the team of people I worked with or whatever achieved that. So if you could do that, you can do this.
Right. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying before, Jason, but name it to tame it is it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Um, I think that there's just like other practical ways. I know like I do some like neurosomatic intelligence exercises, and there's lots of different practices out there that could be breathing or tapping or there's so many different things. Even just I'm gonna admit, so here's my bag right here. I did a little bag breathing before we started our session to just kind of like help that, just that initial nerves kind of calm down.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
This podcast is not helping my self-doubt. I am the dumbest person on this podcast. What? That was a mouthful.
That was a pretty big word, Eric.
Oh my gosh.
Somatic.
What?
NSI.
Oh,
It is
man.
helping, it's trying to help our nervous system be in, like communication with our body. Like a brief summation. Think about like your feet and the last time you actually like paid attention to where your feet are in space, yet your feet take you everywhere. And so there's just a lot of connections within that, and also actually can then go out to help with self-doubt.
Jason,
Awesome.
you and I are going to have to go like read up in some dictionaries and maybe we can quiz each other for our next podcast.
My favorite part of that whole thing was she said to keep us grounded and then dropped neurosomatic. I was like, I'm sorry, that doesn't feel grounded. Still, this is my favorite part of them. I don't even know what that means, but okay, I guess we're grounded now. Thank you.
Gosh.
Thank you for the explanation, Ericka.
Yeah.
I am not going to spend the rest of the day thinking about my feet, but I appreciate it. It was great.
Oh, man.
I'm
That's
glad
awesome.
I'm here to help.
man.
So the question was like in real time, how do we combat, this self-doubt when it comes? So
Well, you know what I do in a bit, well, kind of not in real time, but in advance, if I know I've got something big coming up, I'll go back and like I saved, emails or letters or things that people sent to me that were complimentary of things that I've done or accomplished. And I say I have them all in a file on my computer. So if I need to, a little kick of self-confidence, I go back and I read them because I'm like, look at all these people that had confidence in me and thought well of me. Why aren't I thinking that way? And so that helps. That's just kind of something to do in advance, but it kind of puts you in the right frame of mind if you're going to do something big.
absolutely. And while I did ministry, I kept a file of what I'd call good notes as well. So I get that. I'll say I pray. Like even before we started, these guys, were getting ready, and I was kind of scrambling to get stuff done, and there was this nervous energy, like, "Whoa, Twan, don't jack this up," And so I was like, "Well, I guess I better give it to something higher than me, because, man, I need some help." So I want to give our listeners any last kind of, if there's like one mindset or habit, we've kind of dipped into that already, but if you've got like one thing you would say, man, when you're fighting self-doubt, shift this or try this, what would that one thing be? Kind of our famous last word segment, I guess.
Ericka, any big words?
Yeah, Jason and I are afraid to talk now, so you guys should just take us home.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Change your mindset. Say a big word.
That's fine.
No, I mean, I think it goes along the lines of what we've just been kind of talking about this whole time. And it is, maybe you don't have that community or small group of people, and finding that, right? Or even these small practices, which, like I said earlier, they take work and it takes practice to get there, right? If we've been in a not good place or in that, say, negative self-talk, like you may need to get a coach or go to therapy or take a little bit of that, what feels like a risk step to then, change the trajectory of what it feels like you're going on, right? Like, okay, well, I'm going to do something different. This isn't working out. What can I do different to get, even if you don't know where you want to go, but to just change where you're at now?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of along those lines. I think everyone should just at least do something once a week that's uncomfortable. And just, if you step into the uncomfortable, that's where courage grows from. You got to try it. And that's what helps you grow. So I think once a week you should try to step into something uncomfortable.
Yeah. Love it.
One thing I haven't said yet, and I'll just add it to, I want to say I loved Kelly's encouragement note idea. Everyone should have that file. The other thing I think, if you're starting to talk that way to yourself, go put on some headphones with some angry music and go do 30 minutes of cardio. And you're going to feel so much better. I'm sure there's science behind it. Ericka can probably use all the big words to explain it, but you're just going to feel better. And there's a release that just kind of comes out. And so I think so many times we want to say, I just need to get my head right so I can get my body right. Or I just need to get my body right so I can get my head right. They're so linked. So I think angry music, 30 minutes of cardio, feel better.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, getting that energy out.
Yeah. Man, I would say to all of our listeners, you just need to know that you're amazing. I used to watch these videos. I looked it up before coming on this podcast, but it was People Are Awesome. I don't know if y'all ever saw those, but you've got people flipping, riding things, doing all kinds of this crazy, amazing stuff. And we're all human. That's one thing we have in common. And you have gifts. You can do stuff. It's not just those amazing people. Humans are amazing. For goodness sake, we put people on the moon, or at least they say, if you're a conspirator. Okay? That there have been amazing things that we have done, right? And you're one of those folks. And so just remembering that when self-doubt comes in, wants to make you think you're not one of those people, but you are.
Tune in next week for conspiracy theories we all believe.
And Jason and I are going to come with one big word next week. I'm
what's your big
determined now.
word?
I'm going to start reading my dictionary this week for sure.
Man. Oh my goodness. You guys are awesome. I love being on this podcast with you. Hey, to all you guys who are listening out there, we want to thank you for being a part of Beyond the Questions with us. We love that you're here. And if you feel like, man, I think I want to go farther, we just want to let you know that all of our information is in the description. Check it out. We would love to talk with you and share with you where we've been and help you get to those goals that you're looking to get to. All right. Thanks again for being with us. We will see you next time on Beyond the Questions.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Questions. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date concerning future episodes. And if you would like to connect with any of the hosts on Beyond the Questions, their contact info is linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions.